it's staying in my story's history. Obviously, because it's the beginning of Nightbringer, his story takes place in the very beginning of my world. Um, and there's a couple of interesting things about it. First of all, and I believe it was episode 4 or 5 of my original series called Twin Dragon, when Dan Bowen first joins the world, he is sent this cane, and he uses this cane to teleport himself into my world. And as he teleports himself in, hits on the ground, and out pop Shinobi and Shigendo. Um, in this last episode, we actually see Shigendo being trapped into that cane, and that's part of the history. It's part of the plan, and it all connects back into itself, as well as another little piece of interesting trivia for those who like that type of thing. The episode just before Twin Dragons, where Merrick confesses his love to Adriel. Unfortunately, it's an illusion of Adriel because he wanted to tell her, and so the Grove of Desire, where I even mentioned is, hey, they're in the Grove of Desire, but I never talked about what this place is, created an Adriel so that he could have his desire. This place creates your selfish wants. And the reason why it creates your selfish wants and why it is the Grove of Desire is because it is the birthplace of Nightbringer. We filmed it at the same location where that picnic with Adriel and Merrick happened a year and a half ago. We went to the same location to film that last fight scene because it's part of the history. The Grove of Desire was created at the moment that Nightbringer was made. Kind of like his essence is still resembling there because Nightbringer is the essence of self in the sense of a selfish self. That's why Nightbringer's Omad took the path and hit the path that he did. You know, this is the other end of the world. You know, when you choose in the world, you know, you have an option of power, and Nightbringer is a very powerful being. You know, and everything that you want. You can have everything that you want. It sounds very seductive, doesn't it? Or peace. You know, that kind of is the path, basically, that you choose to take the different directions. And Omad was no different. Omad was no different in any way, shape, or form than Adriel or Merrick or Zach or Mike coming through, and you have to make that choice. And he did. You know, just before he became Nightbringer, Shigendo was still there, trying to save him, trying to be like, oh, you don't have to do this, you're going to become a slave. You know, stop, please, don't. And he's like, you don't understand, I want this. Alright, that was his free will to choose to do it, which took him down the path that he did. And that is a huge theme in my storylines. It's one of the hidden messages that I'm putting in, and I decided during this last month I'm not going to play with you guys anymore. I'm not going to be all mysterious and just leave things in metaphor, and I hope you figure it out someday. I'm going to be upfront and tell you this is how it is, you know. And this is how it is in my storyline. This is what's going on. Adriel and Merrick, the lovers. The story of Adriel and Merrick is the understanding and the fable of choice will separate people. You know, if one goes this way and one goes that way, well, you're going to be split. It is also an explanation, a tale of no matter how far down you go, and this is Adriel, no matter how far down you go, you can always come back. Right, and that will also be part of Nightbringer's story as well. And of course, Merrick and Adriel together, that is Love Conquers All. when Merrick is able to, because of his love, save Adriel and bring her back from her deep dark hole. Yeah. The point of Lightning Jack. Lightning Jack's story is really tricky. Lightning Jack's story is about Field of Intent. It's about what you think you can manifest, your perception is the creating force in your life. And that's still to come, my dear friends. You have not yet seen the transformation from Lightning Jack to Stormbringer. And, you haven't seen Lightning Jack's return. And that's coming. Oh my goodness, is that coming. Since I don't have to play with you guys anymore, I can do this the way that I want to. Now, for reasons of, I want to surprise you a little bit, I'm not going to go into full detail about that. Shinobi and Shigendo, their story is the fight between selfish self and the universal self, the unselfish, the true, the selfless, universal love, and pure unadulterated, gimme, 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 me first, selfish self, which is Shinobi and Shigendo. It's the fight that happens. You know, the whole angel devil on your shoulder, and they're like, oh, hey, do this, or hey, don't do this. That's who they are. That's who Shigendo and Shinobi are. And it's why Shigendo, now, admittedly, I love Bone to death. His characters are his. These are his characters. He created them, but I am using his characters to tell this particular story. But it's part of the reason why Shigendo is always calm, even in a horrible situation. He's like, hey, be cool. We don't have to go this way. Why don't you not become Nightbringer, and why don't you come on back? While Shinobi's all, I will destroy everything! Ha ha ha! It's because they're these two different aspects. And these aspects are interplaying with one another, because in real life these aspects play with one another.